In today's math lesson, you can see here on the screen that I have some pennies, I have a couple people. What we're going to be talking about today is how you can share money with people and how we can use fractions to figure out how many pennies each people would get. So you can see here, we'll go back to this problem. Right now I've got a total of 12 pennies. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then I have two people. So I'm trying to figure out if I was to divide these pennies equally between these two people, how many pennies would each person get? An easy way to think about this is, if you remember from our fractions that we've talked about, the bottom number is always how many pieces there are total. The top number tells us how many pieces are shaded in, or how many pieces we're selecting. So in this case, you can see I have one person and then a second person. So that means that the bottom number would be 2. It'd be the same thing as taking a circle and splitting it into two pieces. You can see the boy would be on this side, so we'll put a B for boy, and then the girl would be on this side. So it's the same thing as taking a circle and dividing it into two parts. So since that's the case, the bottom number is going to be 2. And we want to figure out what's this top number worth. If I take 1, so if I take this girl and she's our top number, I want to know how many pieces does this girl get. So let's look at the next page. You can see here I've split up the pennies. I took those 12 pennies and I gave them equally to the two people. So you can see I already wrote that fraction, 1/2 of 12, and you can see that it ends up being 6, and we can count that. The boy got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the girl got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it has to be the same number to make it so that it's fair. So let's try some others here. You can see here now I have 3 people that are sharing 12 pennies. So an easy way to figure this out is to actually go and give each person a penny one at a time. So I'm going to give a penny to the guy first on the left. I'll give a penny to the guy in the middle, and then I'm going to give one to the girl. Now I'm just going to repeat the same thing until I run out of pennies. So you can see now that each person so far this time now has 3. This guy has 3. The guy in the middle now has 3, and the girl on the end has 3. You can see I still have some pennies left, so I have to keep going until I get all of the pennies passed out. So now you can see I've got all the pennies passed out. I have no pennies left at the top. And if I go through and count, you can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4 pennies here. This person has 1, 2, 3, 4 pennies. And then this person has 1, 2, 3, 4 pennies. So if we think about this, remember, to make it so that it's fair, each person has to have the same amount. Well, if this person has 4, and this person has 4, and then the last person has 4, you can see that all of these people have the same exact amount. So we would say sharing 12 pennies with 3 people, each person would get 4. And to show you what a fraction would look like, you can see here we would say 1/3 of 12 equals 4. And remember that bottom number we talked about earlier, the bottom number is how many pieces you have. Well, since we have a total of 1, 2, 3 pieces, or 3 people in our group, that's our bottom number. And I want to know what one of those would be, so I'm just going to select just one person, and that's where we get our number of 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that tells me that one person out of this group would have a total of 4 pennies. Let's do one more problem. So now I've got more pennies. I still have my 3 people here. So let me move them again. And again, the way that we're going to figure this out is we're going to take and start handing out the pennies so that each person gets a penny. So this person, I'm going to start by giving him 1, go to the middle, and then go to the end. Now you can see I still have a bunch of pennies left, so I'm going to do the same thing again. 1 to the beginning, 1 to the middle, 1 to the end, and I'm going to keep repeating until I run out of pennies. So far, think in your head, how many does each person have? If you said 3, you're correct. Each person has 3. Now we keep going. You can see, now think in your head, how many does each person have? You can see I still have some pennies left, so I'm not done yet. So we'll put 1 more to each person. So now think in your head, how many does each person have? So we'll count them. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, So this person has 5 pennies. If we count this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this person has 5. And then the last one would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this person has 5 as well. So we would say that 1/3, and again that's the fraction because the bottom number tells us how many people. Well, there's 1, 2, and then 3 people. So what is one of them? And I'm going to circle this person this time. So what's one of them have? And you can see here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the answer to this problem is 5. So each person has 5 pennies. Now let's do one last problem here. Let's pretend that I have, we'll just make some circles here. If I have, we'll do 6 circles here that I want to share between 2 people. The easiest way to figure this out is that number 2 tells us how many buckets we need to have. So if I make a bucket here and a bucket here, now it tells me I've got 2 buckets, so now it's my time to put these circles one at a time into the bucket. So we'll put a circle here, cross it out, put a circle over here, cross it out, and we're going to keep repeating the same thing until I'm all out of circles. And you can see when I'm all done that if I had a total of 6 and I split it into 2 groups, it ends up being that each person in that group gets a total of 3. So now what you're going to do is I'm going to have you guys see what you know by taking a quiz. So what you're going to do is you're going to go back to the kid blog and you're going to work on taking the quiz. If you need to use some scratch paper, you can, but you're going to go through and you're going to see how many pennies would each person get for the following problem. So the first one is these 2 boys share a total of 4 pennies. So how many pennies does each boy get? You can go on and you can see now there's 2 boys still, but now they're sharing 10 pennies. So how many pennies would each person get? When you have a chance to finish all of those quizzes, what you will end up doing is you'll have a chance to go through and do a practice book page to see what you know.